Meghan Markle's journey from Hollywood actress to global icon has been nothing short of remarkable. Entering the British royal family as a modern, outspoken woman of color, she was hailed as a transformative figure, a feminist, a philanthropist, and a champion of mental health. Her polished speeches, carefully curated media appearances, and advocacy for empowerment painted a picture of grace and compassion. Yet, beneath this glossy exterior, a different story has been brewing for years, one told not by tabloids but by those who worked closest to her. At the heart of this narrative lies a rumored piece of CCTV footage, allegedly capturing Meghan snapping at a hotel staff member with a cold, cutting demeanor that stunned onlookers. This incident, combined with consistent accounts from former employees, threatens to unravel the image she has meticulously built. What began as whispers from palace corridors has grown into a chorus of voices, painting a portrait of a leader whose private behavior clashes sharply with her public ideals. This article delves into the hotel incident, explores the broader allegations of a toxic work environment, and reflects on the potential fallout for Meghan's legacy. The turning point in this unfolding saga is the rumored CCTV footage, a piece of evidence that insiders claim could shift public perception overnight. According to sources close to the situation, the clip captures Meghan in a rare, unfiltered moment during an interaction with a hotel staff member. The scene is not one of raised voices or dramatic outbursts, but something far more chilling, a calm, icy demeanor that cuts deeper than any shout. The staff member, reportedly caught off guard, is left visibly shaken, their confidence dismantled by Meghan's condescending tone and piercing stare. Those who have seen the footage describe it as a stark contrast to the warm, empathetic figure Meghan presents to the world. It's not that she yelled, one insider noted. It's that she didn't need to. Her words and the way she looked at them was like they ceased to exist. This incident, if real, is more than a fleeting moment of frustration. It aligns with a pattern described by former palace staff who have long spoken of Meghan's ability to switch from polished charm to cold dismissal in an instant. The footage is said to show her fully aware that no cameras or fans are watching, offering a glimpse into the private behavior that employees claim was all too common. The staff member's reaction, described as a mix of shock and humiliation, mirrors the experiences of others who worked under Meghan's direction. For those who have followed her career, the idea of Meghan as a demanding leader is not new, but the existence of video evidence elevates the conversation from hearsay to something far harder to dismiss. What makes the hotel incident particularly significant is its timing. Meghan has spent years cultivating an image of compassion, delivering speeches about kindness and mental health while positioning herself as a trailblazer. Yet, this single moment, captured on grainy security footage, threatens to undo that narrative. It's not just about one bad day, it's about the consistency of the stories that surround it. Former employees, some of whom jokingly call themselves the Sussex Survivor Squad, describe a workplace where small, pointed interactions like the one allegedly caught on camera created an atmosphere of constant tension. One former assistant recalled rewriting an email 14 times, each draft returned with snarky, confidence-eroding comments. Another described a meeting where Meghan rolled her eyes mid-sentence, cutting them off as if their words were irrelevant. These moments, though subtle, were described as emotional terrorism wrapped in luxury, a phrase that captures the quiet but devastating impact of her management style. The hotel incident, then, is not an outlier, but a snapshot of a broader pattern. Insiders say it's the kind of behavior that left staffers anxious, second-guessing themselves long after their shifts ended. One former aide recounted a calendar mix-up that wasn't their fault but resulted in a single, cutting sentence from Meghan that left them feeling 2 inches tall. Another described her ability to freeze the air with a look, making even seasoned professionals feel small. The CCTV footage, if it surfaces, could bring these stories to life in a way that no written account ever could. It's one thing to hear about Meghan's coldness, it's another to see it unfold in real time, unscripted and undeniable. The hotel incident is just one piece of a larger puzzle, one that former employees have been assembling for years. When Meghan first joined the royal family, she was seen as a breath of fresh air, a modern woman who could bridge the gap between tradition and progress. Staffers were initially excited to work with her, inspired by her energy and vision. But that optimism faded quickly. Gardeners, assistants, stylists, and even senior aides began to share stories of an emotionally draining work environment. It wasn't about high expectations or a fast-paced schedule. Those are par for the course in royal life. What set Meghan apart, they say, was the way she made people feel: dismissed, belittled, and constantly on edge. One particularly striking story involved a head gardener who reportedly received such a harsh tongue-lashing from Meghan that Queen Elizabeth II herself felt compelled to intervene. The Queen, known for avoiding personal drama, rarely steps into such matters, making her involvement a sign of just how out of hand the situation had become. Other staffers described meetings that felt like walking on eggshells, where vague instructions were paired with impossibly high standards. A single mistake could lead to public humiliation, not through yelling but through subtle, biting remarks. One assistant recalled being mocked for her British accent in front of colleagues, with Meghan mimicking her voice while others laughed uncomfortably, unsure how to respond. These stories paint a picture of a workplace where emotional warfare was the norm. Emails were dissected like legal documents, with Meghan's feedback often laced with sarcasm that chipped away at confidence. Meetings were tense, with staffers developing a radar to gauge her mood before she entered the room. Some even texted each other warnings: "She's in a mood today. Stay clear." These weren't dramatic exaggerations but survival tactics in an environment where Meghan's approval could shift without warning. One former aide described it as the most emotionally confusing job they'd ever had, with Meghan's warmth vanishing the moment Prince Harry left the room. What makes these accounts so compelling is their consistency. From junior aides to senior advisors, the stories are eerily similar: a leader who demanded control, not collaboration, and whose disapproval was delivered with a precision that left lasting scars. One staffer described handing over their work, hoping for a simple acknowledgement, only to be met with a stare that made them want to melt into the floor. Another recalled a moment when Meghan's sarcastic comment about their work left them crying in the bathroom, not because of the words themselves, but because of the way they were delivered: calm, controlled, and cutting. The allegations didn't end when Meghan and Harry stepped back from royal duties. Their move to the private sector, complete with high-profile deals with Netflix, Spotify, and a new lifestyle brand, Riviera Orchard, was meant to be a fresh start. But the same issues followed. Insiders report that Meghan's micromanaging tendencies and cold treatment of staff persisted, making it difficult to build a cohesive team. Riviera Orchard, envisioned as a cornerstone of her post-royal brand, has struggled to fill key roles, with the CEO position remaining open for weeks. Potential hires are reportedly wary, having heard the stories from former palace staff and industry insiders. The media ventures have faced similar challenges. Spotify quietly ended their partnership after a single season of Meghan's podcast, with a top executive reportedly calling the couple grifters, a label that stuck. Netflix shelved an animated series that was meant to be a flagship project, and other collaborations have fizzled out without fanfare. Industry insiders point to Meghan's need for control as a sticking point, describing her as someone who takes feedback personally and struggles to collaborate. This reputation, once confined to palace corridors, is now a liability in the private sector, where her brand depends on partnerships and talented teams willing to work with her. The contrast between Meghan's public image and these private accounts is stark. Her speeches about mental health and empowerment resonate with millions, yet those who worked behind the scenes describe an environment that left them mentally unraveling. One former aide called it survival, not a job, a sentiment echoed by others who felt they were navigating a minefield of moods and expectations. The hotel incident, if it becomes public, could crystallize these contradictions, showing a side of Meghan that her PR team has worked tirelessly to conceal. Throughout this controversy, Prince Harry's silence has been conspicuous. As allegations mounted, he offered no public defense or comment, leaving many to wonder whether he was unaware of the extent of the issues or chose loyalty over addressing them. To some, his silence feels like complicity, a refusal to acknowledge the growing chorus of voices from former staff. This perception is particularly damaging because the couple's brand is built on unity and shared values. If Harry is seen as enabling Meghan's behavior, it risks tarnishing his own reputation as well. The stories from former staff suggest that Harry's presence sometimes tempered Meghan's demeanor, with aides noting she was warmer when he was around. But the moment he left, the atmosphere could shift dramatically. This dynamic raises questions about how much Harry knew and whether he fully grasped the impact of Meghan's management style. His silence, once seen as loyalty, is now interpreted by some as a failure to confront a problem that has grown too large to ignore. The rumored CCTV footage of Meghan Markle snapping at a hotel staff member, if it exists, could be the tipping point in a story that has been building for years. It's not just about one moment of coldness. It's about a pattern of behavior that contradicts the image of compassion and empowerment she has worked so hard to project. From palace staff to industry professionals, the voices of those who worked with her tell a consistent story. A leader whose demand for control and subtle, cutting demeanor left people feeling small and expendable. The hotel incident, with its potential to offer visual proof, threatens to make these stories impossible to dismiss. Meghan's rise was fueled by ambition, charisma, and a knack for controlling her narrative. But as the stories from former staff pile up, that control is slipping. The failure of her media ventures and the struggles to build a team for Riviera Orchard suggest that her reputation as a difficult employer is catching up with her. The public may still see her as a trailblazer, but those who worked closest to her describe a reality far less inspiring. If the CCTV footage surfaces, it could be more than a PR crisis, it could be a collapse of the brand she's built. For Meghan, the challenge now is whether she can address these allegations and rebuild trust, not just with the public, but with the people who make her projects possible. The stories from former staff aren't just gossip. They're a warning that authenticity matters more than image. As the whispers grow louder and the possibility of the footage going public looms, Meghan faces a reckoning that will test the strength of her carefully crafted persona. Whether she can rise above it or be defined by it remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the truth, like the footage, has a way of coming to light.